Okay, so in today's episode, I'm going to be talking about something that on the outset looks pretty boring. And for many people, it really is. I mean, this is all about how to organize your files and folders. How interesting can it be? Well, it may not be interesting for many people, but it is very, very important. Because get this wrong and you end up in a total mess and chaos in your business. Get this right and everything is just easier. So that's what we're going to cover today. I'll see you in a second. Okay, so how to organize your files and folders. Now, this is something that I've struggled with for many years. I've tried loads of different variations of ideas that I read about, should you be done by department? Should you be doing it by role? Should you be, how granular should you go? How many different folders you should have? This goes for not just your files and folders, say in your cloud storage, but it could be your emails. It could be the video hosting platform, your CRM, how you group people in your CRM. Also in your task management app, how do you group up your projects or your tasks in there as well? What about your passwords? How do you actually group your passwords together in your password sharing app if you use one? So this idea of grouping information together in usable ways is something that isn't new. And in the past, or the traditional way of doing this, is that people sort of group it in a way that's easy for you to find. Now, as in you think, okay, it's intuitive or logical for me to think, I want to find something, say a graphic design thing, then I would go, okay, well, what's graphic design to do with? Oh, it's to do with, maybe it's in a marketing thing. Well, it could also be in an operations thing because it could be for products. Okay, so where do I put it now? Let's create a new thing called graphic design. Okay, so it's in our graphic design folder, but then there's some marketing stuff. So suddenly it actually becomes really difficult to decide where you're going to put something because sometimes they go into different places and different, or have cross roles. So I find that technique a little bit cumbersome to think of, but the purpose of doing that is that you're trying to figure out how would I remember where this thing is. And because back in the old days, doing file searching, you had to remember the actual file name of the thing you were looking for. If you didn't remember that, you couldn't find it. So we sort of over the years developed techniques to find it very easy to organize stuff into these complex trees. So you always find it, you go into subfolders and subfolders until you find what you're looking for. But that's sort of an archaic way of looking at it. It's a bit like emails as well. People do the same thing. They have folders and subfolders to find their emails. I've never, ever gone and trying to search something in an email by going into a folder unless it's for a specific purpose. I filter my marketing for specific thought leaders into folders so I can follow their conversation really easy. That's a very different thing. Anything to do with filing or organizing or structuring or saving documents or saving emails is the same. It's the same challenge, I say, as for files, and I have the same solution for that. And that is to stop trying to save things to make them easy to find, because modern day search technology, the likes of Google or Apple, whatever, will find things so easy by any word in the title or in the body or the information within that actual file or folders. You don't need to have that outdated mindset when you are structuring your folders. So if we don't do it that way, if we don't do it the old-fashioned way where you're thinking, okay, how can I easily find something, then what else do we do? What is the better way to do it? And this is the way I think you should structure your whole business with regards to organization. And it is, think about a role-based organization or a delegation-based organization. How do I delegate stuff easily? Because ultimately that's what your business should be about. It's about how do I get stuff off my back onto somebody else's back in the easiest possible way. And one of the problems with doing that, with delegating work out, is about giving people the right permissions and access and passwords and all the rest of it as well. But by giving people their access to the files and folders and passwords, whatever, that they need to do their work. And so we started rethinking the way we did all of our sort of organization. And this goes down to our task management app, our projects and our teams in there, our files and folders in our cloud storage, our video hosting, and our CRM, and also in our passwords on LastPass as well. So all the things I mentioned before, we do this for now. And we actually think very specifically about roles and about projects. So if we know that there's a project a role really that's going to be involved with a project, then we want to think, okay, so what files or what folders are associated with that role? Actually, I'm going to correct that. let's just stick to the word role. I think it'll confuse things, just the way that we use projects in our business. But for the purpose of this, just think of it as roles. So you have, for example, the highest level roles would be like departments. So departmental roles. So you've got department heads, marketing, finance, sales, operations. You could have HR, product development. And if you think about grouping things into that high level, then you're probably going to have a manager, maybe now, maybe in the future, you're going to have a manager for each of those departments. So the highest level of organization that you want somebody to have a specific level of access to would be on departments, because you're going to have a department lead. So your marketing manager would need to have control over all the 1,000 folders within the marketing department. So it makes sense to group them all together. Same with the passwords, same with the CRM access, same with the videos, same with our passwords. So you give that person the responsibility to actually have that oversight, that management. They might not be involved with doing the day-to-day of organization because they're too high up, but the idea is that they have total control over that. And you may have other people, like our operations manager, would also have control over it because it's their responsibility to actually do a lot of the stuff. So once you've got that set up, really simply, you end up with only sort of 5 parent folders or shared drives or teams or whatever in your entire business. And then you hierarchically break things down below that based on the roles, again, within the business. So we don't go massively granular on many things. Like some things we do, like if it's a specific product, we'll have a folder for that product, and within there there'll be like, course 1, course 2, course 3, or module 1, module 2, module 3. So we do break it up like that for organization. I'm not saying we never do that, but from a sharing perspective and for a searching perspective, the key here is you're trying to think, stop trying to organize things in such a way for the finding of it. Instead, think, how can I organize it so it's easy for me to share? And that's really the big take home from this. So one way to really help you do this, if you're going to use this role-based philosophy about organization, in that maybe it actually becomes slightly more tricky to find things by memories. I've got such a bad memory, I can't remember anything I put anywhere, so I always rely on the Google search. Like 99% of the time I'll never search by going folder to folder, I will search by searching for it. And so we've basically started doing prefixing on all of our documents. Anything new we create, anything we now document in the future, anything we're filing away, we prefix it. So is it an ops? Is it marketing? So we put MKT, for example, at the beginning of marketing. Is it a finance, FIN? So we have little prefixes we put into each of our documents, so we can find them super easy. And they obviously be in whatever the role folders they're in, but they're also each one, like an ops document, may actually end up being in 2 different folders for whatever reason. And therefore, we can find it because it's still under ops, but it may be from a sharing perspective in 2 different places. So just simple prefixes that we can then search for really easily make that totally possible and easy. And that's about it, really. Nothing more to say. It was just my thoughts. It came up in a conversation in our in one of my coaching sessions, as I mentioned the other day. And these are some of the things that came out of that conversation. So I thought I'd share it with you guys. I hope that was useful. As always, please leave me a review, leave me a comment in the chat box, leave me a review on the podcast if you're listening to it there. Give us a rating. Massively appreciated if you would. And I'll see you next time. Thank you very much.